Peace and gratitude. This is Reverend Dr. Kamar Falade Banderanwa, and this is another channel message. Today is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. So let's get it. So, first of all, at the title of this video or this live, Detroit is a cemetery. Let me tell you the channel message that I received today. And I posted it on my Facebook page. But just recently, we had a shooting. Well, let me stop using we. So just recently, Detroit, there was a shooting in Detroit at a repass. At a repass. It was on the east side of Detroit. That shots were fired during a repass. And I can't remember how many people were deceased and then how many people lived, but it was a shooting at a repass. So one of the news outlets in Detroit, they posted the information on Facebook. And so usually I don't even comment, but I was led to comment this time. So I was, my original comment just simply said, like, if the people or the person who did this, that did the shooting, was a young person, then the curfews aren't working. The curfews aren't working. Or yeah, the curfews, or I won't even say the curfews aren't working. The curfews weren't the answer. The curfews are not the answer to the problem. That's what I said, that the curfews aren't the answer to the problem. They're not working. This is spiritual, and that the future Detroit leadership don't know how to handle this level of violence. They don't have the solution. They don't have the answer to this level of violence, because this is religious. This is spiritual. It's not religious. That's the comment that I made on the post, under the post of the news outlet that was reporting the story on Facebook. I was like, the future Detroit leadership, they don't know how to handle this level of violence, because this level of violence is not religious, it's spiritual. And I said if, because all of the details had not come out, if the person or the people who did this were young people, that means that the curfew ordinance that they have implemented here in Detroit is not working, and that's not the answer. Okay, that was my original response. Then someone was like, nah, it's just your cousins. It's just your cousins don't know how to self-manage themselves. And I was like, listen. And I said to the person, I'm not even mad at your comment, because we all have people in our family who have the ability to do something like this. And I was like, and that's why I stay in therapy, because therapy is keeping me. And I said, and that's why I say this is spiritual. Okay. Then another person responded to me, and they made a comment about how criminals, that's just how they think. And once a person is a criminal, that's just how they think. And either you're going to have to shame them to where they just, move out of the community, or they stop the behavior, or they're just going to have to self eradicate themselves. And he was like, and the person was like, unfortunately, people, good, not, I think he said like good people or just normal people have to be the collateral damage. And I'm paraphrasing it, but that's essentially what this person said, that normal people have to just be the collateral damage to these criminals, who either they're just going to have to self eradicate themselves, or you're just going to have to shame them into just moving out of the community, and where you're letting them know this is not tolerated in the community, and you're just going to have to shame them to move out. So I responded to him. I think it was a man. I really couldn't tell by the name, but I think it was a man. So I responded, and I was like, it's interesting, because I just had this conversation with a friend, about, saying basically what this person said in the comment, and his reply to me. And I said, I just had this conversation with a friend, and I said, And I had to address my shadow self because I told him, I said, 5 years ago, if you had made this statement to me about, they would have to just eradicate themselves, I would have thought that you were being mean. But now I agree with it. And now I have to ask myself the question, why do I agree with it? Has Detroit made me so emotionally callous that I'm like, yeah, they're just gonna have to get rid of themselves. They just gonna have to basically like kill themselves off. Is that the solution to the problem? And to even think that that is an option now. And then I went on to say that, you know, um, maybe Detroit has made me just so emotionally callous that I'm agreeing with what you're saying with this option. Like it's a viable option to me about them just self eradicating themselves. Or what else did I say? Or I'm just at the point that this shit just doesn't make sense. You can't even make it make sense. Just the level of foolishness. You just can't make it make sense. And I said, or is it that that everybody is just NPCs? This is the Truman Show, and this is just one big green screen. And that's the comment that's the reply that I posted, or I replied to the person who replied to my comment on that particular post on Facebook. And I had to come to terms with my shadow side. Like, I'm really to the point, like, yeah, just kill yourselves. Kill yourselves. Because that's what it's getting to. Self genocide. And I also put on there, like, well, maybe that's just the agenda. Maybe that is the agenda. Maybe that's the agenda for self eradication to occur. Maybe that's the agenda in Detroit. But I really had to come to terms with my shadow side. I'm really agreeing with this because maybe that's an option. And so as I'm going throughout the days, spirit is just speaking, like the spirits are speaking like Detroit is a cemetery. Detroit is a cemetery. Because what happens, let's make this spiritual. I always look at things beyond the physical. When all these people are being killed, murdered, okay? So clearly, now I don't know what these people's plan was when they came to this earth plane. I don't know if being murdered was part is what they agreed to. I'm not sure. I would have to go into their Akashic records, or I can't even go into, yeah, I would have to go into their Akashic records to see if that was part of the life plan, or did they die prematurely. So when a person dies in such a tragic and horrific way, it takes a traumatic way. They got to now realize they're dead. Okay. And they're just walking around because this is deep for them. This is a huge impact for them that they're dead in this such a traumatic way. So if we don't have people in our family who are spiritual like I am, or do the spiritual work like I do, and so many others do, and you don't walk those souls, and you don't explain to those souls what's going on, and you don't prepare them for the afterlife, well, guess what, the very place that murder occurred in the city of Detroit, all those souls are walking around, and I can guarantee you that more and more tragic events and murders are going to happen on that side of Detroit from now on, because nobody's telling these souls what has happened and walking them into the afterlife and doing as much elevation and healing work that you can on these souls. So they just walking around aimlessly. I won't say aimlessly, but they're walking around, and guess what? They are now going to get other souls, other people to join them. How will they do that? Well, I can start speaking to people to get them to murder or to kill or to join me on the other side, because I'm lonely now and I want company. or I will inhabit a vessel, a person's body. You know how many soulless people are walking around the city of Detroit? So it's not hard for these now departed soul, or these people that are now deceased. It's not hard for their souls to inhabit a body in Detroit. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. So we wonder why. I'm taking you. I'm having you look at this from a spiritual perspective. What can we do? All the community activists and the Detroit leadership. What can we do? What can we do? Y'all ain't ready for what we can do, because this is when you got to go to the astral realm and do the work. You got to stay up at night and you got to talk to these spirits. And really, they walking around in broad daylight, so you could do the work during the day, but you got to start talking spirit to spirit on the astral realm, and you got to tell these people they dead and they got to go to the afterlife. That's how we gonna stop this problem. Otherwise, if we don't have spiritual practitioners doing the work, these souls are just walking around and getting more souls to kill, to murder, to destroy, to wreak havoc. Detroit is a walking cemetery. That's why it's a particular freeway in Detroit, the Southfield Freeway, and it's always accidents happening on the Southfield Freeway. Why? Because the people that die in these accidents on the Southfield Freeway, nobody, their family is not coming to take these souls and tell them to go to the afterlife, and so they want company. So you'll pay attention that these accidents will occur at the same time of day on the Southfield Freeway in the same location, because it's these souls that's causing it. Everything is spiritual, people. We don't die and that's just the end of it. That's why you're seeing all of this stuff happen on the earth. Because as above, so below. This what is going on in the astral realm is just mimicking what's the earth is just mimicking that in a negative, a low vibrational way. So that's why you can't look to none of these people running for mayor, none of these people running for city council, none of these people running for school board, none of these people running for governor. No, no. Because either they're a part of the spiritual agenda where they know what I'm talking about, and they're in the secret societies and they're engaging in these rituals and they know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're using Detroit as a way to harvest energy, or either they don't know and they just gonna tell you all the political rhetoric that they're trying to say to get you to vote for them. Spiritual warfare. This is spiritual warfare. All of this stuff is not just happening by coincidence. Detroit is a cemetery. Every single day, you're walking amongst the living dead. You're walking amongst spirits and souls that have been tragically taken away from this earth plane. People, they don't have people in their family doing the work, and they're just walking around waiting for other souls to bring them to come with them in this plane of existence, or in that plane of existence where they are just walking around Detroit, just yeah, because they don't want to accept the fact that they're dead. Nobody is helping, or they don't want to accept the fact that they have died and left this earth plane and now have to go into another dimension. So we're just beautifying a cemetery. We're just beautifying a cemetery. That's what we're doing. We're beautifying a cemetery. And not saying that cemeteries are not supposed to be well kept and beautiful, but that's what we're doing. I don't mean that in a negative way, but you're beautifying a cemetery. We're keeping Yeah, we're renovating a cemetery. We're revitalizing a cemetery. Just what and the people that the leadership and the people that feed off of the energy of Detroit, they love it. They know exactly what I'm talking about. But everybody else that's indoctrinated with Jesus. Let me tell you also about natural disasters. Natural disasters are not they're not natural. Mother Nature has a way of getting rid of people that take up space. And I know that sounds harsh to hear, but I said it. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Mother Nature has a way of getting rid of things, people, situations that take up space that are not contributing to society. Also, people that are into the occult, that they know the times and the seasons in which to create natural disasters, to get rid of certain people, to get rid of bloodlines, to harvest their energy. Stop thinking that these natural disasters are natural, because in everywhere in life there are spirits. There are spirits in nature, and there are people who know how to talk to nature spirits. That's how they are gifted with that ability. They can go out in nature and they can speak to the wind, they can speak to nature, and things can get done. If you don't believe me, go read the Bible. The Bible has truth in it. They tell you some of the truth, but they don't tell you all of it. How did Jesus know to talk to the fig tree? How did Jesus know how to talk to the water and when they were in the middle of a storm? There are people who are gifted, who know how to talk to the spirits in nature. And when it's time to do a harvesting of energy, they will cause quote unquote natural disasters, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcano eruptions, hurricanes. It's all spiritual. People, wake up. Hurricane Katrina, come on. That was not a natural disaster. Let's also talk about dying in a low vibrational state. Don't even get, you know what? I had to tell myself, don't even get upset and mad at people when they don't apologize, because guess what? Their karma is coming when they die. When they don't apologize, when they hold on to that bitterness and anger toward you, and don't make it right with you in this realm, they are trust me, they're gonna have to relive that over and over again when they die. So don't even get upset no more. I'm here to tell you, it's not enough. It's not enough to be like, oh, I'm just done with it and I'm just not gonna say nothing else about it. I'm just done with it. That's not enough. You didn't pay off your debt. Your debt is to apologize and make amends with people. Even if you got to go in the astral realm, maybe you're not able to do that because maybe the person passed on, or you're just not in proximity to that person anymore. Then go to the astral realm at night. Instead of going to sleep, go in the astral realm and speak your forgiveness in the astral realm to their spirit. But it's not enough to just say, oh, I ain't gonna even say nothing. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I'm just gonna stay over here and I'm not gonna say nothing. You still gotta pay that debt off. So if you don't pay it off in the physical realm, you will pay it off in the astral realm. So it's not that easy of just, oh, I'm just done and I'm just not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna avoid them. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way in the astral realm. You have to confront it. You have to pay off your debt. So that is why there's a verse of scripture in the Bible, I believe in Proverbs, where it says, don't let the sun set down on your anger. Don't go to sleep angry. Because what if you don't wake up? So now you're in the astral, your soul is in the astral realm with that anger. Or say, you go to bed angry. Well, guess what? You just set your soul, your spirit up. Say, for instance, you go to bed angry and you don't die. but you're sleeping, you go to bed angry with unforgiveness and bitterness. Guess what? When you're sleeping, you have now made your spirit an open target in the astral realm to be attacked, because you went to sleep in a low vibrational state. That's why it's important not to go to sleep with anger and bitterness. Play high vibrational music. Do something to raise your vibration before you go to sleep. Because if not, your spirit will get its ass kicked in the astral realm. I'm here to tell you. This is all spiritual. Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is, when you are in church and healing is taking place, I channeled this as well. Do you know why healing is taking place? Because Jesus don't want no sick souls. Jesus needs your energy. The pastors need your energy. So to heal you is an exchange for them. It benefits them too. Because the more healed people that stay in the church, in the congregation, you're going to have a testimony, and you're going to have loyalty to this particular quote unquote pastor or healer or evangelist or prophet that healed you. And you're going to give more money and more energy to this person. That's why it is so beneficial to have healing take place in the church, because it just keeps the machine going. It is not because they truly, genuinely care for you and your health. Nope. It keeps you in that church. It keeps you loyal. It keeps you on that membership, and it keeps you paying tithes, and it keeps you giving the energy to that particular leader of that church. And it keeps you giving energy to Jesus. And that is the message that I was to tell you today. So until next time. Oh, also, thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks for the shares, the likes. Also, if you have any questions about anything or about my services, my email is in the description box, and I'll email you back. So once again, until next time, stay peaceful and stay grateful.